Oh, hey, it's Caroline and Danny. We're here at the home of everything Frederick in downtown Frederick at 401 East Market Street. Here for Strange Famous, talking business, talking life, talking veterans, talking what?
Yep.
Thursday. It's Thursday. I wish it was Friday, but it's Thursday.
It's right around the corner.
So close. I can almost taste it. So, first of all, I want to introduce my guest today, Danny Rodriguez. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing well. Hello.
So Danny is the founder of Thrive US. Is it USA?
Yep. Thrive USA Home Care.
Home Care. Okay. Founded in
Here, 2016, but here in Maryland, actually.
in Maryland,
Yep.
2016. So I have so many questions for you, but
Okay.
first I want to just say thank you for coming. I know you're a busy man with 3 locations now. You know, I had to book him out a couple weeks. He's a busy man, guys. So
Yep.
won't be long before he will be really strange famous. We won't even be able to get him to sit down here in Frederick for a drink or coffee or anything. I'm
I'll
sure.
always have time for it.
Oh, thanks, Danny. But I really do appreciate our friendship. Getting to know you over the years and working with you has been a pleasure. You're so professional, and I've always admired you as a person and the things you're doing in the community. It's dope to see you just like growing and thriving, if
I
you will.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just wanted to bring you in and tell your story today. So I'm kind of going to turn it over to you, and I'd love to have you start with just like why Thrive and what was the idea behind it and why did it start?
Well, Thrive was it started. I've been sort of a servant in my life. I've always sort of gravitated towards serving individuals. Even before I joined the Marine Corps, I was I was a lifeguard, but I was also a volunteer firefighter. I joined the Marines, obviously, and then when I got out, I just saw that there was like I had a passion for helping veterans in general. And so I started working with a military placement company, helping veterans find jobs. Then I ended up working at Wounded Warrior Project and ended up being an alumni manager there. So really just have dedicated my adult life to helping veterans access and navigate the benefits that they've earned. And while at Wounded Warrior Project, I sort of saw a big gap for our aging veterans. It's something that will happen to most of us if we're lucky.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to age, and
all gonna get old.
Yep. And ultimately, I wanted to make sure that while we age, there were resources there for our aging veterans, and that's what really gave me the idea to start Thrive USA as really the nation's only veteran-focused home care company. There's a lot of home care agencies out there that will work with veterans, but we literally specialize with veterans. We do not only their home care, but we help them with all their VA benefits, and it's all in-house, and it's all for free.
And it's so confusing.
No cost.
It's so confusing. So that is such a blessing to them, I'm sure. Like,
Oh yeah. It's overwhelming, honestly. I mean, the VA itself, people don't realize that the VA itself is broken down into 3 distinct administrations, the Veterans Health Administration, Benefits Administration, and the National Cemeteries. And they each have their own sort of like benefits and programs that people can access.
Okay.
And if you don't know what you're doing, it can be just
so convoluted.
insanely overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot.
A lot of money left on the table, I'm sure. And
Yes, and money, benefits. If you don't know about the benefits, how are you going to get those benefits, right?
Sure.
And so that's really where we came in. Our Thrive's 3 pillars are to educate, engage, and empower.
Okay.
And we want to educate our veterans and their family members on the benefits that they have. We want them to remain engaged at a high level, even though we're doing home care. We understand that a human being, and veterans specifically, are much more than just activities of daily living that have to be completed. There are higher level needs that need to be engaged. And we want to empower them with that knowledge and that independence so that they can keep going.
I know that like it just seems so obvious that like veterans should have these services, and it should be something that the government, you know, just comes and helps them and figures it all out. But it seems like it makes sense if you think about it. They don't want them to get resources easily because then they would have to pay for more resources, and so it's kind of like a give and take. I mean, if it's available, it's there, you can figure it out, you can get it. Is that kind of how it works? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. And, you know, people can knock on the VA, and the reality is the VA is doing the best that they can, honestly.
Sure.
If you look at it, the VA medical system is the largest private medical system in the entire world, probably, really, or well, at least in the country for sure, because I mean, China, it's all the same. So,
Oh, really?
well, it's communists, so they're all
yeah.
the same. Yeah, they do that. But I mean, at least in the country, right? They're bigger than everybody, and so they're moving a lot of systems. And the fact that they have built-in systems for care in the community, because they've heard the gripes from the community, right? They've heard, oh, we have all these wait times, we have all this stuff. And so what they've done over the years, now it's the government, right? It's not going to happen overnight.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Nothing
but
does.
they have continuously moved the bar up.
Okay.
Right? To the fact where, like, offering the care in the community offerings that they have now, and allowing veterans to access in-home care for even temporary basis if they have like a surgery that needs requires a veteran to have assistance in home, or permanently if a veteran has aged to a point where they could use assistance on a daily basis about their activities of daily living. I think that's huge, right?
Yeah,
that's a
that's
long-term
huge.
care insurance policy that a veteran has paid for by their service, and it's at no cost to them, right? And that's really the big thing. But
That's
the truth
awesome.
is, they have to ask for it.
Right. And know where to ask for it.
And know where to
how
go and
get
ask for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They could be going to the VA every, week for 10 years, and they're not going to bring up the home care program until the veteran asks about it, usually, for the most part.
So I know this is it's on topic, but it's a little bit off topic. I always wonder, like, when I see a homeless person that has like a sign and they say like, veteran and homeless, please help or whatever, like, how does that pull on your heartstrings differently than like just me? Like, I haven't served. And do you feel like, man, you just want to like grab them and shake them and be like, come get some help. We got options.
Yes.
You know? Like, is that how you
Yeah,
feel?
this is pretty much it.
That's
like,
kind of how I feel. So I guess we're not that different.
No,
Like,
but really, I usually will take it a step further, right? I mean, so I'm also the commander of the VFW, and I'm also the like a service officer, accredited service officer, a part-time service officer there. And so I really want to get them off the street. There's really no reason for veterans to be on the street with all the benefits that they have. So I usually try to engage them when I see that. See a sign that says, "Hey, disabled veteran, help me out." And I'm like, yeah, let me help you out long term, right? I want to
love
teach
that.
you how to fish.
that's great.
Let's teach you how to fish and get that there so you can feed yourself long term. Reality is sometimes they do. I've got some really amazing stories of finding veterans literally homeless on the street that then ended up getting their benefits and now are living successful lives. And sometimes you get veterans that don't want to because they just, maybe there's a mental health concern that they don't really want to engage. And then you'd be surprised at how many people are just saying they're veterans out there, and they're not. Right?
I can imagine that.
Because see, I mean, I know what to ask, right? If you're a veteran, you know what to ask another veteran to see. Hey, are you a vet? What's your MOS and things. So you can tell if somebody's sort of faking the funk.
Is that illegal to pretend to be a veteran?
I don't know. I don't know if it's illegal. I know, it's stolen valor is the term that people
stolen
have.
valor.
Yeah, stolen valor is a term that is used. They usually will do that. It's usually for like, Purple Heart recipients or people that are going to, they're politicians or something overstating what they did when they were in the military, like.
I've heard it before. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That makes sense.
it's an ongoing thing.
So my next question is about growth. So I've been, I've had several businesses as a serial entrepreneur myself.
Yep.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's a roller coaster all the time. And, I just want to know, like, what was the secret sauce for you to be able to scale up the way you have? Like, what do you think it was that really got you to be able to open a location now in Florida and a location in North Carolina?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee.
We just are
Sorry.
opening,
Nashville.
yeah.
Okay. So talk to me.
Well, honestly, I think it comes down to heart, right? I mean, I tell my team all the time, we can train skills, we can't train heart. And I have, I can't take credit individually. I have an amazing team that makes Thrive. function. And the one commonality with them is they're not all veterans. Some of them are, some of them are not, or veteran families. But the one commonality between all of them is that they have hearts. They have the right heart, and ultimately we have proven ourselves here in Maryland to the point that we're like, okay, where can we help more veterans? And so we're sort of looking at locations that have high veteran population and maybe less resources so that we can sort of help those veterans in the most need.
Interesting.
Right? Florida seemed sort of natural, being that so many people retire to Florida. Yeah. There's a high veteran population. In the 4 counties that we serve in Florida, there's nearly as many veterans in those 4 counties as the entire state of Maryland.
Wow.
Right? So
that's crazy.
It's a huge veteran population down there. And same thing with Nashville, right? And
so how many people are you guys serving right now, approximately?
we're about over 150 every day. We're serving every day. And then over 300 we've served, since we've...
That's amazing.
On a regular basis, basically.
That's awesome. Yeah. So 300 people's lives you've impacted.
Yep. And hopefully going to a lot more. And it's on a regular basis, right? It's a little different than being like at a center where people come in and out all the time and stuff. This is literally intimate. You're in their house. You're helping them. These are caregivers or personal care coaches, as we call them, that go in and really engage veterans at the highest level.
So the idea is, if you're just tuning in, Danny Rodriguez is here. He's with Thrive USA, the founder. And Thrive basically comes and does in-home care for focus on veterans, but really you guys can help anybody, really.
Yes,
right?
we can help anybody. We're just specialized when it comes down to the veterans just because we have such in-depth knowledge of the system that we try to make what can be a complex system simple.
Okay. So, it's all about the team, man. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yep,
That's what they say.
Definitely.
And we got part of the team here. She didn't want to be on camera, but the social media. If you're following Thrive online, she's the one that's getting you all these really cool videos of Danny looking silly on camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
So where can people find you guys online? Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of the things.
Yeah. So we're not on TikTok. We were at one point, but we're not there.
Not now.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Okay.
But we are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And then of course our website, ThriveUSAHomecare.com, which will be revamped here shortly, is also a great starting point for anybody that is looking for more information or how to contact us, for sure.
Awesome. So next topic I wanted to switch gears into, Danny's here also representing the VFW.
Yep, sure.
So I wanted to switch hats for a second and just give, a shout out to the new facility. I was lucky enough to be in attendance at an event there a few months ago. So nice. It was just such an upgrade from the old building and everything. And congratulations. I know you guys put a lot of work into all of it. Still fundraising, I'm sure, to cover a lot of the things that you guys have done.
Yeah.
So can you tell everybody what VFW generally, if they don't know what it is, and how, if they're interested, they can get involved?
So, yeah, sure. I mean, I think the VFW has evolved, and that's what we're really trying to establish here in Frederick, because growing up for me, I always considered the VFW like this smoky, dingy bar that crusty old veterans go to.
It was when I was a kid. That's what it was.
It was, right?
Every bar
it's
was,
like
though.
smoky, crusty. Yeah, it's what it was. But the VFW has evolved into sort of like a legislative arm of a community support organization. We try to do youth programs. There's sort of a lot that the VFW does. And if you haven't looked into the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and again, and not only the Veterans of Foreign Wars, there's other organizations, the AMVETS, the American Legion, all of that I'm members of as well. I'm just most active with the VFW, but these organizations are community and civic organizations that are here to impact our community in the best way possible. So, if it's, I literally was on a call last night with a unhoused veteran family of 7 that is working with other organizations, but needed food yesterday, right? So I ended up working with our team at the VFW, getting them food sent out to them. We have them going over to the Veteran Services Center today to get some more food from the food pantry there. Yep, food
Shout
pantry.
out to Reforge
Yep.
Food Pantry.
Yep,
Sorry.
doing some laundry there as
Nice.
well, and hopefully we're going to get them. They did just receive a HUD voucher that will get them out in Allegheny County, hopefully there soon. But it's as simple as helping out individuals like that. It's going out and cleaning up. Angie from our community activities committee, she just went out, cleaned up a creek bed and our day of service. We want to be out in the community. We do things with the Sea Cadets. We are engaged with our chamber here in Frederick County.
And the Sea
mayor.
Cadets are what?
Sea Cadets are like junior ROTC, but for like Navy. It's sort of like young Marines and Sea Cadets. And it's like younger children that are interested in that sort of structure.
That's
of
cool.
potentially going. It's really cool.
Yeah, I
They
love
help us
that.
out with like flag ceremonies and such. It's about getting the community out there. And then a big thing is legislative too, right? We have a big legislative arm. The VFW has been chartered over 125 years ago to be able to sit in front of Congress and demand things change for the better for veterans. I mean, the VFW is instrumental in passing the PACT Act, along with other nonprofit organizations that
Wow.
were veteran focused.
That's
And that
really
PACT
great.
Act opened up the ability for so many veterans to get not only health care, but also financial benefits through the compensation, pension, and disability program.
That's so cool.
Yep.
And I wanted to also just shout out to Mission of Mercy because they are a resource if anybody's watching this and needs like dental or health care and you're not a veteran or you are homeless, insured, it doesn't matter. You just come there. You don't even need an appointment. You can just show up, but you can schedule an appointment in advance. Check out amissionofmercy.org if you need to check them out. I'll put a link to them down below. But
Excellent.
I think that, that's why I think Danny's the coolest. I mean, honestly, he's involved in so many things. He's building a business. You're generating jobs for people in the community. And I think that you also are just so well spoken. Like every time I've seen you, that event that we were at for Reforge for the unveiling of the memorial, and being at the Veteran Services Center, obviously. So
Yeah, we've been there from the start.
yeah, so 5 years there now. Is that how long it's been?
I think it's 4 years. I mean, we've
4
been
and a
in
bit.
the, it's going on. It's 4 years, I think there.
So who else is at the VSC, and can we talk about them for just a few minutes and what it meant for you to move in there, and how that kind of happened, I guess.
Yeah, so that's an involved story there. So
just the
yeah.
the nuts and bolts, if you
so
will.
the Veteran Services Center was the brainchild of Danny Farrar, former founder of Platoon 22, and Goodwill, right, of Monocacy Valley. And they came together and they came up with this idea of, hey, there should be a center, a one-stop shop, so to speak, that veterans and family members can come to and get the resources that they need instead of having to go here for the counseling and here for engagement and here for healthcare. Just a one spot that everybody can sort of come to, and of course that seemed great. I mean, in non-for-profit or in any service sort of industry, you want a collaborative environment typically, right? That's sort of what makes you successful, is because no one organization or person can do everything. So it seemed like a natural sort of progression when Danny was like, hey, I know you're doing home care for veterans. Do you want to come in here? And we were actually about to sign a lease at another location. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? This sounds way more aligned to what we're doing. So we didn't sign that lease, and we were sort of unhoused ourselves for about a year in between the transition from us moving from Rockville back up to the Veteran Services Center, about a year or two, while they finished the building, because we were there when it was still dirt, right? When it was still, the walls weren't up. We were like envisioning the whole location, and so we got in there, and it has now evolved drastically. It's very different than what it was when it first started, actually. And Goodwill has more recently taken over the day-to-day operations of the Veteran Services Center, which really has kicked it into high gear. And really changed the
Packed in there all the time. It's
it
great.
has changed the engagement level at the center for sure.
I love it. I mean, every Monday they have the Reforge Rise and whatever Monday. I can't remember what it's called. Katie's good.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. It's like, but it's sponsored by Black Rifle Coffee Company,
Yes.
which is so cool. And they got involved in it Mondays. And then Wednesdays, there's Wellness Wednesdays. So they've got acupuncture and massage and, Reiki and all kinds of stuff in there. And then Fridays is Fellowship Friday, I believe.
Yep.
And
Fellowship Friday.
really great breakfast that they come in with. And then they've got, Bible study afterwards with the chaplain that's housed in the Veteran Service Center, which is really cool. Well, I don't know if he lives there literally.
Well,
but
no, he doesn't
he
live
has
there.
he has a desk
He's
there.
there a lot.
He has a desk.
He's there a lot.
But it's just really cool that, like you're saying, it's evolving. But, there's growing pains to everything.
Oh, yeah.
And
definitely.
I think we've seen recently, I know that, Danny Farrar was in here talking with me just recently about the whole situation that kind of has been, it's been almost a year now, right? That Platoon has been removed from or left the Veteran Services
Yeah,
Center.
and clarification. They weren't removed, really.
I said or
yeah,
left.
yeah. No, you're
I didn't
right,
mean to misquote.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
But it's like somebody will come back and say, no,
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
I have big shoulders.
Yeah,
It's okay.
it's good.
I got the original video.
But no, it's been a little over that actually, there's definitely some growing pains there. I think again, what Goodwill has sort of built is a coalition of organizations that are really involved in veteran first sort of services, and I think that they've, Goodwill's always stayed on mission, right? They've sort of not waded into the quagmire of people saying he said, she said this and all that stuff. They sort of stayed above it and just sort of like, hey, we're just gonna do it. It's actually one of the terms that Reforge uses that I love. It's forged by actions, by deeds, not words. And I think that's really it aligns with me too. It's like, say what you mean what you say kind of thing. It's just,
I like Goodwill's approach. They just told me, like, let's just focus on the good. That's what they want to do is just focus on the good. And I think that's a great approach. There's enough focus on the bad for sure.
And typically in this space, that's what you want to do. But sometimes, the bad can get too noisy, right? And I think what we've seen recently in the news and stuff, it sort of highlights the fact that sometimes enough is enough, and people sort of need to highlight and call out potentially some bad actors,
right?
Because how else are they going to change?
Sure. I mean, I'm kind of new to this whole story situation. I've heard recently what I've heard through the grapevine. Obviously, everybody saw the Frederick News Post article that came out, which is I think it was 2 weeks ago. Articles.
Right? Yeah, now they have multiple.
Another article has come out, and I'll put links to that also down here in the body if you want to go and reference what we're about to talk about. But there was an unveiling of a memorial a couple weeks ago at the Veteran Services Center. I was there. Danny was there in attendance speaking. It was wonderful. There were so many great people there supporting the center. It was beautiful. We were able to pay tribute to 2 soldiers specifically that were featured in the Veteran Services Center in the past. They had 2 silhouette statues, and those statues were removed from the Veteran Services Center. There's been a bunch of controversy. Where are the statues? What's happening with the statues? Why were they removed? Why aren't they just coming back to the vet? What's really going on? So I brought Danny Farrar in, talked to him, got his side of the story, which is the truth about how it was started and how, things were formed, I guess, in the beginning. But what's happening now, I kind of wanted to do a follow-up with you because you're very involved in all of it. You're very close with Katie from Reforge. You're very involved in the VSC. And also you're a supporter of Platoon 22, a neutral-ish position for a long time. And I feel like I also had a neutral position, but I've taken an opportunity. I know that I have a voice in the community, and I wanted to take an opportunity to get a little bit more of this side of the story out there for people to understand, the people that founded the organization, the people that were there, their perspective on what has happened, why the controversy is still happening, and what do you think is, what do you think is going to come of this? I mean, what's going to happen?
All right, so what is it? We have like an hour and a half show.
You're doing great. You got plenty of time. Let her cook. We're going to turn it down to a low simmer for a few minutes.
So where to start? Well, I mean, I guess the first place to start would be to the families of Specialist Richardson and Sergeant Moore. First, I'm super sorry for your loss. You don't know me. I don't know you specifically. I've met you at some of the events that we've had at the Veterans Services Center. But I'm sorry for your loss, right? As a veteran myself, veteran suicide is really high up, or preventing veteran suicide is really high up on my my radar. I've lost more people, more of my Marines to suicide than I ever did to terrorists. You know, which is, I guess, one of the reasons I was so gung ho about Platoon 22. I mean, how can't you get like pumped up about an organization that says that they're there to end veteran suicide? Of course, you have to get behind an organization that says that.
Absolutely.
Right?
I dedicated a whole season of my show to raising money live on the show to raise money for Platoon 22.
And again, like you said, I definitely was a supporter, right? Originally, obviously, went in there with Platoon 22. I spent thousands of my own company's dollars, VFW's money, to raise funds for Platoon 22 at their gala. I even spoke at their first gala. I actually was one of their speakers, highlighting the work that Platoon 22 was going to do at the Veteran Services Center.
Of course you were.
And I, invited them over to the state convention for the VFW, had them speak there. So yeah, I was definitely a cheerleader at one point for Platoon. What has changed is not my dedication to veterans, but basically understanding my exposure to how this organization was run. Basically, is really what has sort of impacted the way that I have changed. So again, I'm sorry for, the Richardson and Moore families for their loss. And I'm really more sorry even now about how they were treated through this whole silhouette thing that you were talking about. Right. I mean, it could have been a simple call, right? Platoon 22 could have called and be like, hey, we messed up. We should have contacted you. And, we knew these were dedicated to you. We should have contacted you, or should have at least followed what your wishes were for this. But instead, I mean, Platoon at first started by denying that they did anything wrong. They said they communicated with the families all the time, the whole time. And then that was refuted by the families. It was refuted by Danny Farrar. And so then what they did was they now changed their stuff, their tactic basically, and they're like, okay, we didn't communicate with the families, but let's muddy the waters and talk about how Mission 22 gave us, and it wasn't originally dedicated to them, and they gave the silhouettes to us. It was sort of like a childish response. It's like it's ours. We can do whatever we want with it. We can do whatever we want with it, even though Platoon rededicated those to Specialist Richardson and Sergeant Moore, and put a plaque in at the Veteran Services Center. Right. I mean, they spent a lot of money to do all of that stuff, right? They dedicated that. And Danny Farrar had talked about how these two veterans were literally the catalyst for starting Platoon 22, right? These are Frederick veterans that died by suicide, and they were the catalyst for him starting Platoon 22. And if you go through Platoon's website now, they're gone. They're not on there.
Yeah,
Danny's not on there. They're not on there. They used
to
be on there as like the how or their mission or about them, right? And there's versions of the website that you can still see online and go back to see what they used to say about them. But now they are trying to sort of diminish them, because when the family pushed back, that was that seems to be their standard operating procedure. It's like, oh wait, now you're talking bad about us, so let's diminish you, or let's set you aside, right? And instead of doing that, they're just saying, okay, well, no, it's ours. We can do whatever we want. And then, I guess in the most recent article, it's they were talking about going back and forth. I think Nikki Falzone, the ED, was talking about that she did not want to go back and forth with the families. But I think people should realize, or maybe recommend or remind Mrs. Falzone that if your mission is ending veteran suicide, communicating with families of veterans who that have lost a veteran through suicide, it should be a priority and not an inconvenience, right? It should be something that you should do. Instead of like, no, we just don't want to do this, right? And again, it could have been something that was easily fixed and rectified, but instead and this is not an isolated incident, by mind you, right? This seems to be like an ongoing sort of pattern on how Platoon 22 handles its stuff.
So I heard that there's like a Platoon Fields or some like farm or something that they're going to put the statues at.
That is now, after being gone for, like you said, over a year now. Now, apparently, after all this uproar, they have a plan to move it over there. I don't know if it's still going to be dedicated to Specialist Richardson and Sergeant Moore or not, but that is allegedly now their plan, and it's a shared space that they have there too. But I mean,
Which
this
is crazy because that's not like a permanent home for, who's to say what's going to happen with that farmland if Platoon is dissolved, and by the way that they're running it, it wouldn't be a surprise to me in the future. I'm just saying.
You never know, honestly. And the truth is, and it's so conflicting here because you never want to besmirch any organization that does some good, right? I mean, Platoon has to do some good, right? They're getting money, right? But I mean, even Bernie Madoff had made people money before he didn't, right? Not to insinuate that Platoon 22 is doing anything illegal like Bernie Madoff did, just to illustrate that bad actors can still do good things. Thank you. And carry on.
Hitler did too. Hitler made a lot of people money.
I mean, you're looking at, I've heard that they're doing positive things with Veteran Treatment Court here as mentors. That is a near and dear to me just because I am a graduate of a Veteran Treatment Court in Texas, and that changed my trajectory in life, honestly.
What does that mean? What is a treatment court?
The Veteran Treatment Court is sort of like an intervention court for veterans that maybe they haven't had the resources or benefits that the VA has. As we were talking, it could be complicated to get those. And maybe lacking those benefits, it caused them to lash out, self-medicate and drink and drive or take controlled substances. And the Veteran Treatment Court is really about rehabilitation and teaching veterans, giving them the tools to be successful, not just then, but lifelong success. And so, again, it's something very near and dear to me. And my understanding is Platoon 22 has mentors, which are volunteers, right? Many of them are actually VFW members that are the mentors there. And they're sort of the case managers is what I think they're considered. I just hope the Veteran Treatment Court has more than one organization sort of doing that mentorship program, because there's plenty of organizations, like I said, the AMVETS, the American Legion, the VFW. They have many of these volunteers are actually from those organizations anyway, that could actually help out. But
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, so they obviously are doing good. And honestly, I know some of the board members there, right? They are really great. I think that the reality is that those really great activity, the active community board members have been gatekept by, Caleb Sebra and Scott McCaskill and Nikki Falzone, right? Those are the three that sort of gatekept. When I sent in this is the first time I'm publicly talking about them. I've been doing this sort of privately with them for years, right? A couple of years ago, I actually sent the board a letter after I've received multiple complaints from veterans in the community as the VFW commander about people trying to reach out to Platoon and them not being responsive. And so and then there was a petition by a veteran that garnished over 100 community signatures on there that talked about, basically after Katie was dismissed, about the change in the atmosphere there, right? After the change in the atmosphere there. And, they sat down with me, so I got to give them credit that they sat down with me. But when I sent them this letter where I was sort of like, hey, look, these are all these things that are going sort of wrong with the organization. It's sort of from the leadership position that it's coming out of. They basically admonished me. They're like, no, don't worry about this. And then my understanding is that my information that I shared with them wasn't really passed down to other board members that are there. And the truth is, I mean, there's a lot of good people on that board. I think that there's just also some certain people that are bad actors. that what they would rather do is sort of admonish the people that are speaking out against them versus like sit down and have a difficult conversation.
Correct.
It's like it's okay,
wrongs,
right?
some wrongs. Like,
we
it's
can
okay.
make mistakes, people.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can make mistakes, and just own it, right? But this has been ongoing, right? You look at the founding COO, Elizabeth Tate, who now runs Common Grounds. She left the organization because she felt that there was some bad practices in I will say, as far as with the fundraising and what they were doing or planning to do with the money, or really the plan, lack thereof of having a plan of what to do with the money. I mean, they removed Danny Farrar. They got rid of Katie Moran. And that's another thing that's, I think, funny. It's they get rid of these individuals that have done so much for the organization, and they sort of like try to diminish what they've done. But if you look at their website right now, even Platoon's revamped website right now, many of the programs and services that they have on there were things that Katie Moran started herself while she was there, right? Their health and wellness program, she started that. The Faces of 22, which was like a huge thing now, that became a huge thing for Platoon 22, that they ended up getting notoriety for, and they got a copy of the copies sent down to the state capitol. That was Katie's brainchild, right? And in fact, if you go on their website, there's still an article from ABC that says exactly that this was all of Katie's idea. But the telling part is that they didn't even want to do it. When it was happening, we were at the Veteran Services Center. Nikki specifically had told people to not engage or help Katie in developing this program, and just to let her sort of do it on her own. I think almost seemingly so that she could fall flat on her face, but then it became a huge thing. And now they use it as one of their leverage points for everything. But yet they want to diminish what Katie's done, yet they're utilizing it and capitalizing it on a regular basis. So it's pretty telling on there. So.
I don't know. I feel like Katie and I are kind of cut from the same thread. Like, please underestimate me. Please. Please underestimate me. Yeah, I love that.
Well, I mean, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel that another thing that I've questioned is like how many people are giving money to not just Platoon, but to nonprofits in general, and not checking to see what these people are doing with your money.
Oh, that's super good
it's
point.
So important that you ask the people you're donating this money to see some books. I want to see where this money's going, and I want to see the programs you're developing and how much it's costing you, and like how many people you're impacting. Like, you have a right to ask these people before you donate.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's your duty to ask.
and I think honestly. You should. And honestly, they have put out their 2024 990s. So you can actually look at it. Most nonprofits, they should have it available for you to do it. But even those 990s, they bring up questions, right?
Okay.
Like what you're talking about. And again, this is not about gossip. This is just fact.
This is real stuff.
This is just coming off. Like, you can go to get their 990s, right? The organization, I want to just make sure I'm saying it correctly. Okay, so the organization, based off their 990s, they have no written conflict of interest policy. They have no written whistleblower policy, and they have no written documentation, retention, or destruction policy. So it means that, again, we've heard people talking about like whistleblowers. People have talked about NDAs. They say they don't have NDAs, but then people have definitely signed NDAs. And then they backtrack. They're like, oh no, it was just a joke. We weren't going to throw anything else. And then you look at the 990s as far as their money goes, because you asked how many people they're donating to. Well, on their 990, it says that they their own filings reported $84,567 in grants or direct support to domestic individuals. And of that, it went to 1,289 recipients. So that's an average about $65.61 per recipient. But that in itself, right underneath that, it also says that they installed ramps for individuals. They did high dollar things that are going to be way more than $65, right? So that means, what is their actual impact? I think the questions there is, what is counted as assistance? Is it are these unique veterans? And is assistance just simply contacting them, or referrals or basic interactions? Are they counting that as like actual
supporting
assistance?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it just raises some questions in general.
Definitely raises some questions for me.
Yeah.
I would love to invite anyone from Platoon 22 to come and sit with me and answer some questions. I mean,
I'll come back.
yeah,
and I'll sit
I
with
would
them.
love to have a conversation
I
and
mean-
give you a chance to tell your side of it if you want to. Like, I love that you guys want to support veterans. I give back all the time. I donate my time. I donate any resources I can. But if you are in a position where you're feeling like you're not getting to tell your side of it, or you think this isn't being represented fairly, the best thing you can do is come and tell your side of it. But the quietness, the lack of response with real answers says a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
It says a
again,
lot.
this is about accountability, right? I mean, even Nikki said, "Oh, if they lose trust in all these organizations," I mean, the organizations should be questioned. Like you said, if you're going to donate, question where your money's going, question where your donor dollars are going. I mean, again, their 990s talk about what is it, the special services. What is it over here? There's just a big increase in money spent that we don't really know what it's done, right? Where has that gone to? And it's not counted in the bucket for the grants or direct support to individuals. So, I mean, again, transparency should be the key here. Accountability should be the key here. And then ask questions. And if people are afraid to answer questions, then that should
Tells you a lot.
It should raise up some red flags. If people are afraid to answer questions, okay. So, for instance, Platoon 22, they want to end veteran suicide, right? Find it curious that an organization that wants to end veteran suicide has never joined the Frederick County Suicide Prevention Coalition, even though they've been asked multiple years to do so. I find that curious, right? So I find it curious as to why are there more organizations interested in being involved with the Veteran Services Center now that Platoon has left? Organizations that were previously engaged and then disengaged from the Veteran Service Center and now re-engaged with the Veteran Service Center. This is organizations like Serving Together. That's a big organization around here. National Association of Black Veterans. That's another big association that's there. I mean, you have more organizations now involved or wanting to be involved at the Veteran Service Center since they left. I mean, that should raise questions, right? And again, it's sort of like these red herring arguments that they put out there. They're like, look at all this stuff these things that we do good, but don't ask us questions about these. Don't ask us these hard questions here, right?
Like
and don't answer these
sleight of
questions.
hand.
Right. I mean, it's just there. I mean, again, this is it's an ongoing thing with them. I'm only talking blatant facts that are provable. I have, like, honestly, we could be on here for a long time talking about the interactions that I've had with some of the leadership there, and honestly, if there was a recording in that room to hear the words that were coming out of some of these people's mouths, I don't know that they would still be around today. Ultimately, I hope they continue to help the veterans that they are helping, but also take accountability,
I think that's what
their
we're all
actions.
looking for right now is some answers and accountability because, I've gotten emotionally invested in it just talking to so many people that are so passionate about this whole scenario of just the statues were put there for a reason. They were dedicated to certain people. The families were really proud. It was a place where other veterans could come in and see them regularly. And now they've been sitting in storage basically for a year. And only with us kicking up dust and kicking tires and stuff has there now been some kind of potential action plan, it seems, for what's going to happen with them. So
Yeah,
I feel
and
like
still to be determined if they're going to change
that's
the
even real.
dedication,
Right.
to
To a
or
different-
not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think people must question, right? And that goes beyond Platoon 22. I mean, any organization, they need to question. When Warrior Project went through a transition period, right? They ended up getting rid of so many of their chiefs, revitalizing their policies, and maybe that's what needs to be done, right? I mean, I don't think that an organization that wants to end veteran suicide should just disappear altogether, but if the leadership is the problem and the leadership is what's causing the issues in there, I mean, I think Dwayne Meyer should take over and be president of the Platoon board, right? I think he should do that. I think Jim Olson should be vice president. I think they should. These are individuals that will hold the organization accountable because they are servant leaders, right? They do more than just Platoon. Also, like me, I don't just do Thrive or just do VFW. I also am, the on the County Veteran Advisory Council. I used to be the chair of the County Veteran Engagement Board. The commander of the VFW, but also service officer there. Engagement at high levels. When this is what you do, it is your life's work. It's not just like your 9 to 5. Hey, this is what I do, right? Kind of thing. So these are and those individuals that I mentioned, Dwayne and Jim, like those are individuals that for a long time have been engaged in the community and do amazing work. And I think that they've been gatekept, and that's sort of what Platoon did at the Veteran Service Center, which is, again, this is my opinion, that's why these organizations are now engaged. Why Common Grounds is now more engaged with the VSE is because Goodwill is opening the doors versus gatekeeping the doors as to, oh no, you can't be in here, right? Like it's like, hey, everybody come in here.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody come in here. Let's make this thing go, grow.
There's puppy yoga. There's
Yes,
arts
Warrior
and
Canine
crafts
Connection.
night.
I forgot to mention them.
Warrior
They're
Canine
amazing.
Connection is amazing. There's dogs in there all the time.
The chaplain's there.
It's just like a whole vibe. They have a classroom. They're teaching people how to do like a resume update, how to fix their LinkedIn profile. I mean, shout out to, what's her name? The lady that teaches the classes through Goodwill.
Darlene.
Yeah,
Darlene.
She's such a sweet lady
she
and
is.
such a wonderful resource for the people that come in there for classes, and Chris and Ray and everybody that's, they're doing a lot to help out. Veteran Services Center, if you have not checked it out, I would highly encourage you, even if you just want to go take a tour. You don't have to be a veteran to come check it out. Come take a tour, check it out. Even if you just know somebody, a first responder, retired military, anybody that you think would enjoy the community there, it's just great. Coffee, hanging out, talking on Fridays.
There is an open house there at the end of this month. The date exactly escapes me, but it is Memorial Day week. But there is an open house there. Anybody's welcome to come take a look. Chris Alley over there at Goodwill is just an open door. Goodwill themselves are putting their money where their mouth is, right? They know that they want more veteran service officers there. So Goodwill is now engaging with national level VFW to basically sponsor the salary of another veteran service officer that will be based and housed out of the Veteran Services Center. And that means it's more benefits for veterans, again, at no cost, right?
Wow.
Because no veteran should be paying for benefits like that. And it's really, really important for us to give access to the over 16,000 veterans that live in Frederick County and surrounding. There's even more, right?
Yeah.
So-
And I've been volunteering. If any veterans need a headshot, if you need a headshot update, let me know.
Yeah.
Contact Chris. He'll set it up. I'll come in. We'll meet at the Veteran Service Center, take some pictures, help you get some new headshots for your resume. It's a big deal. And that's something small, but every little bit helps.
Yeah, absolutely. It totally does.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that on the resume, putting that on your LinkedIn profile, those are big things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I wouldn't diminish what you're doing. I think giving people voices to speak on, if it helps one veteran, what you're doing is worth it, right?
100%.
And conversely, if what you're doing is diminishing or silencing or disparaging to any veteran, no amount of good justifies that. So, no amount of good justifies that. So I think ultimately, people, you can donate to whoever you want, right? You can, but before you give another dollar, before you give another hour of your time, before you do anything, I think you deserve answers to very basic questions, the questions that we've brought up here. Again, why are more organizations associating now with the VSE than they were before when Platoon was there? Why have we heard repeated comments in social media about sort of the atmosphere or the culture inside of Platoon 22? Why didn't they join the Suicide Prevention Coalition in Frederick? Why instead of joining the Chamber's Veteran Success Committee, are they trying to set up their own sort of thing? It seems like in any instance where they can be challenged, instead of actually just stepping up to the plate and being like, hey, this is who we are, they sort of like shy away, or they try to keep silent, or they
Because they don't have answers that they want to say. They
Right.
don't have a good answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So it's a hard conversation, and that's hard for some people to have. Hard conversation.
hard conversations are hard to have, but
Yeah.
they need to be.
It needs
right?
to happen.
Especially in this stuff. And again, I really do hope that they they can sort of get their. Nobody wants to see any organization fail,
Right.
right? I really hope that they can right the ship and do right by the veterans that they say they're serving. And I know that they've done certain things. They have great marketing, and they highlight and they get good board members that inoculate them from really some scrutiny. But ultimately, I think it's our responsibility as supporters, as donors, that, before I would ever give another dollar or another hour of my time to that organization or any other organization, honestly, just answer the questions that we brought up, really.
Yeah. Feel free to ask questions. And if you have any comments or other questions that you think would be interesting to talk about, we would love to do another follow-up episode to this in a couple more weeks. See, what this might dig up and get back to you guys.
Yeah.
Let's put that to bed for a minute.
Sounds good.
I have a little bit of a lighter topic
Ooh, I like this.
lighten the moment.
Yeah.
I brought in some squishy bun. All right.
So, okay, what
So
what
this
is this thing?
This is a viral squishy bun. It's a dumpling. All right. It's a viral dumpling. These are sold out. If you go on the internet, anywhere online, they're sold out. Like, you can't even find them. So my daughter has had me scouring, like, we go to Five Below, we go to Walmart, we go to all these places, and we're scouring the shelves for these before everybody, and they buy, as soon as somebody finds them, they buy like the whole case of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're selling for like $100 a piece,
Okay.
$150 a piece.
Wow. Okay.
So I went
Really?
to the gas station the other day. I'm not going to tell my secret spot because I'm hoping they'll bring some more in. And I bought 3 cases of these suckers.
Whoa.
I know. But
Okay.
the big thing is opening it live.
Okay.
Because you don't
are you about
know
to open it?
you're going to open it.
I'm gonna open
this
this?
is going to be for you to take for coming on my show.
Oh,
and
thank you so
present.
much. All right.
You can take it home and tell your kids you got a
Nice.
bun, squishy
Nice.
bun. But what color? It's a mystery. We don't
Okay.
know. But it's
Okay.
good for stress.
All right. I
I
like
feel like
that.
you need
I
it.
sometimes
You probably need a
sometimes I
good
have that
squishy
stuff.
bun. So, all right, let's see what it's going to be.
So, okay,
So
so-
open it. Open
right.
it on, live on the air.
I'm
It's a
opening it
mystery
live
bun.
on the air. So I just okay.
Yep.
Try not to mess this
What
up.
color is your bun? Is it going to be a sparkly one?
Okay. All right. I'm gonna see.
A galaxy one? It's a white bun.
The white bun. It's
That's
like
probably
this-
what your real buns are
That's
colored.
Exactly. This is like the standard bun. Ooh, that is
It's
pretty good.
nice,
there.
right?
Yeah, it is good.
Okay.
And my kids do love squishies. It's like their thing now.
Yeah.
So
We'll be
it is
here
good.
at the home of Everything Frederick, where you can find all kinds of gadgets and doodads and all kinds of T-shirts and swag and everything Frederick galore. And we're going to have some squishy buns here for sale this weekend. So come on down, 401 East Market Street. Check out Shannon Flannery, Tara Flannery, and now Sisters Inc. is in the back doing tattoos. So
Cool.
Pretty cool
be
spot. If you
there.
haven't been here, come check out Everything Frederick, home of Everything Frederick downtown.
This is my
Thank
first
you
time.
so much for
Yeah.
coming in
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
doing this. That was very interesting. I'm excited to see what people have to say about this episode. So
Yeah, I
thank
mean,
you
you
for
know what,
coming.
and I'm an open book. If you want to ask me questions, you can find me at the Veteran Services Center. I'm clear, open to talk to anybody. I don't want to keep rehashing this. That's why I've never been big on social media, so I don't want to keep rehashing it. But if people have questions, I'm happy to answer the questions.
And where can people? I guess best way to reach you through email, maybe, or through your website.
Yeah,
Probably through the website.
Yeah, you can get through the
Okay.
web. You can get to.
I'll put a
me through
link to that
yeah.
website right down below.
ThriveUSAHomeCare.com. You can either email us at info@ThriveUSAHomeCare.com, and happy to do that. And if it's through the VFW, just look up VFW Post 3285. It's a beautiful building. If you haven't been there, it is really the new version that we want to see of the VFW everywhere. So,
And if you're
come
interested
on
in joining first Monday of every month at 7 p.m., they
Yep.
have a new member meeting that you can come
Well,
and
it's
attend.
yeah,
Is
it's
that what called?
it's our member meeting in general,
Okay.
but we will vote in new members there. To qualify for the VFW, you have to have served in some sort of foreign conflict or got hostile danger pay or imminent danger pay. You don't need to have been necessarily boots on ground, but if you have any sort of campaign ribbons, those would qualify you for that.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for joining. This has been Strange Famous, and holler at your girl, Caroline. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.